On August 10, 1991, the BC Artificial Reef Society completed the 2-year monumental task of sinking the GB Church, a former coastal freighter. In 1992, the Society was given the 350-foot escort destroyer Chaudière to be sunk. Jay Straith, president of the BC Artificial Reef Society, is heading up the effort to sink the ship as Phase 2 of the Reef project.
The game plan is to do 5 or 6 artificial reefs in various areas of British Columbia. This HMC at Chaudière will be the 3rd artificial reef in British Columbia, and we're quite sure it's going to prove exactly the same as the Sydney did, that it's going to be both biologically successful and successful as a means of promoting ecotourism. We have a saying in the Artificial Reef Society that we stole from W.P. Casella: if you sink it, they will come. And so far in Sydney, we've proven that both the divers will come and the fish will come. We are not even at the first major plankton bloom since we sank the GB Church, and already we're seeing a lot of biological success in the colonization of that ship, both by tube snouts, various lingcod, various lump suckers, and octopus moving in on the ship. We expect when we get through the first settling out period with the plankton bloom that occurs in the spring, a lot more fry will move into the GB Church as their first home. The idea of an artificial reef is it provides that hard substrate where a lot of invertebrates will attach, but also a lot of marine creatures will find as a home.
Don't let anyone kid you, this is the heart of the ship right here. We're in the galley right now. This compartment was used to feed well over 200 people, 3-4 meals a day, every day of the year. And this is another one of those areas that a diver will be able to make his or her way into. We're quite well inside the ship right now. There's no external access on either side of the galley, but through the passageways and the compartments, it's a very easy swim to get right back out to an external bulkhead, and then through an access hole cut in the side of the ship, you're out. Some of the ambient light on a clear day may be able to penetrate this far into the compartment, but plans are in place to sort of provide that lighting access throughout all of the areas that are available to a diver. So even though you're sort of inside the vessel a little more right now, a diver will still have an escape route clearly visible when they're in here exploring. It'll be really neat to be swimming down here with some fishes, and you got yourself a potato cooker right here. There's a couple of ovens back there, and a sink, just in case you want to wash your hands. And what happened was the crew would just line up here, pick up their food from the servery, which is right here, and carry on into the main cafeteria where they'd sit down and have their groceries. And that as well will be an access area for divers.
We're going to open up cut a great hole, about a 10-foot diameter hole here, and open up the doorways for diver access. And they're going to remove the material here so it makes it nice, you know, so they don't get hung up. And they're going to be able to access down in the operation room, the next deck down, with holes cut out through the side of the ship for, you know, entrance and exit, easy access throughout that deck down below.
We're in the bowels of the ship right now. This is what's called the boiler room. This is where they generated the steam to turn the steam turbines to propel the vessel through the water, as well as electricity and basic ship's heating. Now, from all the stuff you can see hanging around me, this is one area that is just too hazardous for anybody to take chances with allowing divers in here. And there's just so much piping in here, and it's so close quartered. You're in about an 80 by 50 foot room where you have an entire power plant, and you can't be messing around with allowing people into this area, because there's just so many places that you can get hung up and caught up. It's just too dangerous. So this area, along with the engine room, will be blocked off. There will be no access in here at all. There'll be what they call coffin plates placed above on the hatches leading into these spaces, and what that'll allow is like air and water to pass through, but no personnel.
And when you combine the natural reefs that we have in British Columbia plus artificial reefs as a means of attracting ecotourism into British Columbia, I believe we're going to be very successful in having a good artificial reef program in this province.